Hello, my fellow time travelers. Where do you want to go this time? The lost colony of Roanoke? Splendid choice. Let's set the temporal coordinates. I slide back from my crowded studio desk, maps of old oceans, glowing timelines on the wall, and hop straight into my humming time machine. Strap in, I tell you. This mystery has waited more than 400 years for us. We'd better not be late. As the console lights up, I tap in our destination. Roanoke Colony, Outer Banks of what will one day be North Carolina. Years 1587 to 1590. A whole settlement vanishes, and all that's left is one creepy word carved into wood, CROATOAN. I grin. And just last episode, we were in noisy, joyful Strasbourg. Bells ringing, markets shouting, printing presses clattering away. From clanging city streets to silence. The machine shudders, the studio dissolves, and the walls melt into a tunnel of spinning colour. I catch flashes. A Strasbourg bell tower, clouds of printing smoke, a jumble of faces and books, and then they're all swallowed by deep blue and grey. With a final jolt, the hatch pops open, and I step out onto sand. At once, the sound hits me. Wind hissing through seagrass, waves pounding the shore, gulls crying somewhere far off. No voices, no hammering, no laughter. I've arrived at Roanoke, I whisper, almost afraid to disturb the air. And my fellow time travelers, this place feels wrong. Ahead of me, the palisade of the fort sags and leans, its wooden posts grey and splintered. The sky is a heavy blanket of cloud, and the pathways are half buried in sand, as if the island itself is trying to swallow the story. There should be people here, I tell you. Around 115 English settlers built homes inside these walls. But right now, it's just me, the wind, and a mystery. I push open the crooked gate and step into the fort. The place looks like everyone stood up and walked away at the same time. Fire pits are cold and filled with ash. A barrel lies on its side, half buried. A cooking pot swings slowly on its chain, squeaking in the breeze. No smoke from chimneys, I note. No footprints fresh in the mud, no animals penned. It's as if a whole town just evaporated. I move closer to one of the main posts, then freeze. There, dug deep into the weathered wood, are letters. I run my fingers over them, feeling the grooves, the splinters. CROATOAN, I read aloud. CROATOAN. This is the famous clue John White found when he sailed back here and discovered his colony gone. I look straight where the camera would be. My fellow time travelers, this is our first major piece of evidence. The big question, I say softly, is not just what this word means, but why it was left behind. To answer that, we have to understand who these settlers were, why they came here, and what pressures closed in around them. I walk deeper into the ruins, brushing sand off a collapsed beam. Let's rewind the story in our minds. It's 1587. England wants a foothold in the so-called New World. So a group of about 115 settlers sails across the Atlantic, men, women, children, led by Governor John White. They're hoping for land, opportunity, and a powerful English base on this coast. I gesture to the outlines of vanished houses. Here, inside these walls, they built rough timber homes. They tried to farm strange soil, fish new waters, and survive storms they didn't understand. Every meal depended on good weather, skill, and often help from local indigenous peoples. I crouch where a doorway once stood. Imagine living here. The ocean thunders beside you every night. You're months away from England, surrounded by forests and tribes you barely know, with hunger and disease always lurking. This colony didn't just fight boredom, it fought fear. Rising, I dust off my hands. And then the man in charge, John White, has to leave. I tap the side of my head. He sails back to England to get more supplies. He plans to return quickly, But history throws a cannonball into his plans. War with Spain, the mighty Spanish Armada. Ships are needed for battle instead of rescue. Delays stretch from months into years. I glance back at the carved post. So here's our situation, my friends. More than 100 people, including children, left on this fragile strip of sand. Food running low, storms and sickness a constant threat. Surrounded by different indigenous nations, some friendly, some fearful, some angry, and no sign of their governor year after year. I take a slow breath, listening to the surf. Under that kind of pressure, something had to give. And somewhere in that story, CROATOAN becomes the key.